Hello everyone, my name is Anthony DiGiovanni, and the following presentation is provided as a summary to my term paper entitled The Mind Behind the Find: How Classification Systems Impact the End User's Search Experience. For more than a century, librarians have diligently worked to provide services to patrons who have used the institutions as resources to find information on a myriad of things. The ways in which people sought information has certainly changed and taken different forms over the years, but there has been one idea that has remained consistent for some time: to find information in a timely manner. To eliminate the feeling of looking for a needle in a haystack, so to speak, classifications systems have proved to organize sources in libraries and online databases to provide users with efficient research experiences. Toward the latter part of the 19th century, libraries were organizing sources as they saw fit. In other words, they developed organizational methods that might have pertained to the size of the institution or what made sense at the time. In many instances, this consisted of fixed location systems. These systems categorized sections of a library by broad subjects, and all the sources pertaining to that subject were fixed to those locations. Many times these sources were provided numbers reflecting its subject and placed on the shelf in the order they were accessioned. This proved to be laborious and time-consuming for librarians, and also confusing the patrons. However, there was one man who sought to fix this problem. His name was Melville Dewey. In the 1870s, librarian and educator Melville Dewey was just a student when he devised a classification system that revolutionized how libraries would organize their collections. Through a series of numbers ranging from 0 to 900, subjects ranged from general topics to history and geography. These classifications also allowed for subdivisions that would place books of like subjects in the same area. Take a look to the right at some of these subdivisions for history. Not long after Dewey created his system, the Library of Congress developed the Library of Congress classification, which became a system unique to their collections, but also became adopted by many libraries later on. This system differs from Dewey as it uses schedules to classify sources, but it shares the same idea of classification. This is an example of a Library of Congress classification schedule. In order for libraries to index their collections based on these classification systems, card catalogs were used, where catalogers would many times create 3 cards for one source, which were then placed in their respective catalogs to be searched by author, title, or subject. Once users found their specific title, they would use the call number provided to locate the source on the shelf. Today, with the use of electronic or online catalogs, this traditional card catalog continues to fade away. In the 1960s, technologists began discussing ways to utilize the computer to influence the way library users find sources they need. A few experiments were conducted that eventually came in the form of online public access catalogs, or OPACs. These catalogs changed the way catalogers traditionally organize sources for a library. Many OPAC systems require catalogers to create records using machine-readable cataloging standards, or MARC standards, which consists of a series of fields where metadata is entered to describe a source. The fields range from 0 to 900 and contain information including author, title, pages, size, subjects, and more. To the right is a chart with some descriptions of the MARC fields. Some of the fields, such as the 600 fields or subject fields, have the ability to be controlled to link subject headings to the Library of Congress authority records, which are the single term that represents a certain name or subject and their variations. By creating these MARC records, OPAC systems, permitting their capabilities, should be able to read the information from the records when users conduct keyword searches or advanced search techniques. A user's experience depends on how effective an OPAC system is, as it can make or break the system's purpose for locating sources. Alongside, alongside the use of opaque systems, the digital age also afforded the creation of database retrieval systems that allow users to access information remotely and in any location without leaving their computers. These databases house thousands of sources from books, periodicals, and academic journals to scientific studies, all of which can be read at the click of a button. However, users must be able to search for the sources they need, and like the aforementioned systems, classification needs to occur. Indexers or catalogers work to develop groups of terms called controlled vocabularies or descriptors that they use consistently in the indexing process. These vocabularies are used to ensure that sources are not only assigned the appropriate terms, but also discovered in the search process. As users might have difficulty knowing which terms to use in their search, many databases offer a thesaurus, that will then recommend terms used in that database. Thesauri also work hierarchically, as in they might provide a broad term as well as a narrower terms. Furthermore, this tool recommends synonyms and related terms. Here is an example of how a thesaurus presents terms for civil war in the ProQuest Dialog thesaurus. One of the first things that users might do when accessing a database is to conduct a free text or basic search in the hopes to retrieve all of the information they need. However, as this strategy might work sometimes, there is a degree of information literacy that comes along with using databases. Many times, users might experience frustration because they cannot seem to find what they need, but users need to be taught how to use them. Some scholars believe that free text capabilities should replace controlled vocabularies, so users can just conduct keyword searches to find information. However, this strategy will only overwhelm users with thousands of results and no consistency. In essence, we might as well end up in the days before Dewey and look through that needle in a haystack. This concludes my presentation. I hope that this helped you understand not only the evolution of classification systems, but why they are important for information retrieval. Thank you, and I welcome any questions you may have.